They came back from this tour after shops bounced checks. They lost $7,000 and they decided we should probably close down Birdhouse. What's up guys, my name's Levi, this is Shred Shop Connect You to Skateboarding, and today we're doing 14 things you didn't know about Birdhouse Skateboards. In this video, we're gonna talk about how they started, almost going bankrupt, the logos, celebrities, and so much more. Let's get into it. To talk about Birdhouse, we gotta first talk about Tony Hawk. He's the Southern California skateboard prodigy child, and he's won pretty much every skateboard contest there is to win. When he's younger, Stacy Peralta picks him up at a skate contest, adds him to the Bones Brigade, and he stays with them for a long time. After winning all of the contests and being in commercials and movies, he really brought skateboarding as a whole into the mainstream. In the late 80s, vert skateboarding was dying, but World Industries and street skateboarding was taking over. So it kind of left Powell and Peralta in the dust. With this, Tony starts to toy with the idea of leaving Powell, which at that time seemed like a death sentence because at that time, Powell Peralta was the biggest brand in the history of skateboarding. Rumors start getting out in the skate world that Tony might be leaving. So Mike Ternasky of Plan B Skateboards reaches out and said, hey, what would it take to get you on our squad? At that moment, Tony Hawk realized he didn't really want to ride for another brand, that he was big enough to do something on his own. Tony's friend and fellow team rider, Per Willander, went to business school to get his degree. When he got out, they teamed up together to start Birdhouse Project Skateboards. A fun fact, Per Willander, he's a stunt double in the movie Thrashin'. Although Tony Hawk had just won the NSA Vert Skateboard Champion for the 10th year in a row, and he was probably the biggest name in vert skateboarding. Skateboarding and vert skating were dying enough that he didn't have enough money to start Birdhouse on his own. He had to remortgage his house in order to pull money out to make it happen. This gave him $40,000 to start the company, and he also had to trade in his Lexus for a Civic to help start the brand. And even scarier, the margins were so paper thin that if Birdhouse failed, Tony Hawk himself would have to declare bankruptcy. When he started Birdhouse, it was in his contract that he got a $30,000 per year salary, which definitely wasn't that much because before, when vert skating was booming, he was making more than that in a month from his sponsors. And at the same time as starting Birdhouse, his other sponsors were slashing their budgets and slashing their contracts up, so he was making very little. So when Birdhouse Projects officially launches, their team is Tony Hawk, Steve Berra, Willie Santos, and Jeremy Klein. Not long after that, they add Mike Frazier and Ocean Howell. By this point in the story, you can tell the skateboard industry is dying. No real companies are making that much money. So in order to launch Birdhouse well, guess what they do? They pack up and they go on a skateboard tour. They toured the country doing skateboard demos, but because the industry was in such a decline, the skate shops themselves actually defaulted on their payments to Birdhouse. Tony was quoted saying that 50% of the skate shops on that tour bounced their checks for $300 for Birdhouse team to visit them. They did the tour so budget that when they would rent a hotel room, they'd sneak in all the skaters in the back door, so they're sleeping all over the floor, faces next to the toilet, you got people underneath the bed bugs everywhere. And they said they only ate strictly at Taco Bell. Now you can imagine the musk of that room. All I literally thought was like, one dude on the toilet and three dudes lined up squatting over the bathtub using it like a poop trough. Just all of them just diarrhea at the same time. Whoa! That was the beginning of Birdhouse. After coming back from the tour, promoting the brand, they realized that they had just lost $7,000. Let's talk about the name and the logo. After they ran with Birdhouse Projects for a bit, they realized pretty quickly they didn't like it. So they cut it down to just Birdhouse. And there was an obvious play on the fact that Tony's last name was Hawk and his graphics were all bird graphics. He was the Bird Man. The Birdhouse logo is a big, bold B. And although this has never been officially said, our speculation, and a lot of people have chimed in on this, they say it looks a lot like the Powell P logo. Guys, if you like these history videos, we love making them. We want to make more. Like, subscribe, and comment. I know it sounds lame, but it actually is the best way for you to support us to give you the content that you love. From the tour, they went straight into filming for their first video ever called Feasters. This was in '92, and it was the era of the skateboard video. Tony Hawk filmed and edited it with the help of friends and teammates. If you go back and watch Feasters, Jeremy Klein helped Tony edit it, and across the bottom and all over, there was these sneaky little sayings that would come in. One of them saying, Tony loves rods. The video again was super low budget to keep the costs down, but they made it to keep the company alive. The next year, they make a little promo video called Untitled. And with that, they add and debut a little unknown skater from Florida named Andrew Reynolds. Also in 1993, they put out their video Ravers and add Heath Kirchart to the team. After that video, they went on a second tour. But get this, they couldn't even afford a van. So they borrowed Tony Hawk's wife's minivan, they crammed all in, then they snuck people into hotel rooms again, they ate Taco Bell, they toured the country, keeping the legend of the trough alive. But this time, skate shops paid them a little bit more. And even though they sacrificed themselves for the trough and the skate shops paid a little bit more, they still ended up $6 grand in debt after the skate tour. Also in 1993, Jeremy Klein, his friend and teammate, steps aside a little bit and starts Hookups Skateboards underneath the Birdhouse umbrella. Eventually, Hookups would start Hookups Shoes, which was pretty successful. It had only 2 riders, Jeremy Klein and Heath Kirchart. Unfortunately, it's pretty expensive to run a shoe company, and Per Willander from the Birdhouse Umbrella Company said, "We gotta pull the plug on Hookups Shoes because it's costing $1 million per order of shoes to run." By the mid-90s, Vert is completely dead in skateboarding. Tony decides maybe it's my time to retire. So he puts out one last graphic, and it's his board of the Titanic sinking. Tony said that Vert was so dead in skateboarding that he was winning high-level world-class skateboard competitions, and when he would go to cash the checks from his prize winnings, the checks would bounce. From there, you gotta imagine he's pretty discouraged. So Tony and Per meet up and they talk about calling it quits for Birdhouse. But the gods answered Tony and Per. A strike of luck, 1995, a contest starts called the Extreme Games. It's kind of a cheesy extreme sports contest, but it also includes BMXing and inline skating. The X Games was promoted and aired everywhere.
My name is Paul. Have you heard about the Extreme Games? For the first time ever, 9 same but different athletic contests never before brought together will be brought together. 9 sports of the future up until June 24th. We have nothing to be scared of.
The Extreme Games begin tomorrow at 12:30 on ESPN.
And Tony Hawk was labeled as the Michael Jordan of skateboarding. So much so that the day before he's talking about closing Birdhouse, the day after, people are recognizing him on the street like a celebrity. This ended up exploding sales for Birdhouse, and he ends up getting a pro shoe for Airwalk, making him $38,000 just in royalties off that shoe, which, if you remember, was more money than he makes on salary at Birdhouse. A few years later, Birdhouse is selling thousands of boards per month. From this, they get to go on a huge tour across America. They're staying in massive RVs, and Jones Soto is paying for the whole thing. Get this, he asked for a golden trough in there and he got it. The tour ends, and in 1998, they release Birdhouse: The End. This was a drastic change from their early Birdhouse videos where Tony filmed and edited them. This video had a $100,000 budget, and each team rider got to create their own persona and storyline for their video part. Sounds like a lot, right? Well, skateboarders aren't that good with math and money, so $100,000 turned into a $160,000 budget. It was also the very first skateboard video that was filmed on actual Hollywood film, which is very expensive. For Tony's part, he built a 48-foot wide vert ramp with a loop at the end inside a bull ring in Mexico. That year, in 1998, Birdhouse has the highest sales of any skateboard brand on the market. After this video comes out, Andrew Reynolds wins Thrasher Skater of the Year. Things are going pretty good at Birdhouse. The following year, Tony Hawk lands a 900 at the X Games. And get this, he retires for a second time right after. And he lets out a video game you might have heard of, Wii Bowling. JK, THPS, Tony Hawk Pro Skater. You ever heard of it? When Birdhouse started, Jeremy Klein was the head of the art department, but quickly he brought on famous skateboard artist Sean Kleiber. When Sean was brought on, this took the graphics to the next level. Sean's contribution is the reason why Birdhouse graphics are so memorable. Sean Kleiber was so committed to these graphics that he quit Big Brother magazine to start doing graphics full-time for Birdhouse and Hookups. Some of the most famous graphics that he did was that he did a play on the famous VCJ bird skull graphic for Tony. He did a Heath Kirchart nod to the Claudia Schiffer graphic from 1991, and the very famous Andrew Reynolds Executioner graphic where he's holding Rick Cossack's decapitated head. As a Canadian, it's interesting to note that Rick McCrank was pro for Birdhouse for a time. They also added people like Bucky Lasek for a while, Joey Poirez. They had everyone's favorite skater, Dylan Reeder, on the team for a little bit. and the super famous actor Tom Green was pro for Birdhouse. He had a couple pro boards that were again plays on Tony Hawk's most famous graphics. Then in the 2000s, they kind of revamped the team to pump some new life into it. A lot of the older guys were nearing the end of their careers, so they added guys like Justin Figuera or Figgy, John Dixon, David Loy, Nate Lacoste, Riley Hawk, Sean Eaton, and Steve Nesser. The new team comes together and releases their first video called The Beginning, which was a play on The End. From there, they keep beefing up the team. They add guys like Ben Rayborn, Clive Dixon, and Jaws. And then in 2013, 2014, and get this, 2015, they win King of the Road. A hat trick, 3 years in a row. The only other time in all of King of the Road history a brand has ever done that is 0. An interesting insider fact is that after a team wins 3 years in a row, they get asked to leave and not come back to King of the Road. Not because they're not cute or smart or funny or friendly, but because they whoop too much butt and they crush it too hard and everyone else sucks. Guys, if you're following us on other platforms, follow us at Shred Shop or me at Levi Switzer. So fresh off King of the Road, they decide to make another video. Tony Hawk calls in his favors with his celebrity friends. So then in 2017, they release a new video called Saturdays, and it has a beefed up team with guys like Jaws, Ben Rayborn, David Loy, Sean Hale, Lizzie Armanto, Clint Walker, Clive Dixon, and obviously Tony Hawk. You might ask, what did he call in favors for with his celebrity friends? The intro for each of the skaters' parts was done by a celebrity or comedian. Guys like Eric Andre, Andy Sandberg, David Spade, even the Jackass crew, and many more. You can check it out in their video Saturdays. Over the years, it's pretty clear, the proof is in the pudding, that Birdhouse has been very good at navigating different trends in skateboarding and maintaining relevance. They've stayed at the forefront. Even this year, Drake was spotted wearing a green Birdhouse hoodie at a basketball game. People kept tagging Tony Hawk and sending him the photo, and then when Tony finally saw it, he called out Drake for wearing a fake Birdhouse hoodie. This caused quite a stir on the internet. Drake said, "Listen, I bought the hoodie. I bought it online from an online seller for 350 USD. That online seller said, it's a real Birdhouse hoodie. All I did was change the drawstring." But Tony Hawk came back saying it wasn't a real Birdhouse hoodie. We didn't release it in that way, shape, or color or something. But either way, Birdhouse thought it was funny. They released a knockoff version of this knockoff Birdhouse hoodie on their website, and they called it the Degrassi hoodie. But hey, we think the only way to settle this for real on the streets is for Tony Hawk to start wearing bootleg OVO gear. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm Levi, this is Shred Shop, connecting you to skateboarding, and you just watched 14 things you didn't know about Birdhouse Skateboards. If you guys love brands like this and you want to see them thriving for decades and decades, the best way to do that is to support your local skate shop. You're supporting brands who support shops, who support skaters. It's the best way to do it. Go out there and find your local. Stay tuned for comment of the week. Oh, we got a spicy one. It's on our The Story of the Leap of Faith short. It's from my guy, Ninja with a Gun. He said, "This the spot in Tiny Hawk's Undergrind 2? Question mark? Talking about the Leap of Faith. This guy doesn't know, but hey, Ninja with a Gun, now you know it's not from that."